I've had a day to process everything regarding War 2 and the teaser. I think it is being unanimously called out for the elements that we discussed in the previous episode. It also made me wonder about the point of the inability of Ayan Mukherjee stamping his own personality in the teaser and how maybe it's impossible because YRF as a company may just follow a template regarding the aesthetic of the YRF spy universe. I might be being too kind if I give the benefit of the doubt to the creator, but amongst all the criticism flung this teaser's way, the hopeful ones in the audience still believe that this teaser may have been rushed and that there can be some miraculous change in the 2 months that are left to the release of the film. I have been on this rodeo with a movie like Adipurush, where the makers with several months of delays promised us significant improvements. But I have realized that when filmmakers mostly produce large action set pieces on blue and green screens, other than intense color correction, the output isn't going to be largely different from what we see. I wanted to sit on this episode with all of you and just share with you my observations of what has happened in the last few years and how I feel it's a detriment to most film industries individually. See, let's be completely honest about the intention behind the collaboration between Hrithik Roshan and Junior NTR with War 2. It's to essentially grab a hold of the biggest market beyond the Hindi speaking belt, the Telugu market, and Junior NTR being one of the biggest stars from the industry, it makes the most sense for business. If one were to objectively analyze the arc of Kabir in the spy universe and the several hints that we saw across Pathan and Tiger 3, the spin-off that would have actually been a brilliant idea, like many of you mentioned in the last episode, would have been exploring Jim and Kabir's time as raw agents together. Partners in crime, similar in personality and temperament, and extremely capable officers who deal with conflict because of their own strong personalities coming at loggerheads with each other, but most importantly, being a deadly combination in fighting an intimidating threat. But as the franchise has become bigger in scale, the intention is more towards capturing bigger markets versus following a screenplay. The one thing that many people were mentioning, and I think this will be the absolute death of a film like War 2, is that they think in the post-credit scene of Tiger 3, when Kabir's next opponent is being described by Colonel Luthra as the embodiment of evil, many people are saying that this is not a description of Junior NTR. This comes as an observation for many, as people assume that a star like Junior NTR will never take the risk of playing a full-blown antagonist. Even though I believe, looking at the poster, Junior NTR and the gear that he is wearing, it seems like that this may be a case again of a soldier going rogue, but if it were really true that the description in the post-credit scene is actually that of a Thanos-like villain that is not Junior NTR, then this whole build-up of War 2 is extremely anticlimactic. The presentation of Junior NTR as a generic addition to the Spy Universe franchise would be highly disappointing. But hey, this is all speculation. The one thing that I have noticed, however, of this evolution of collaborations with stars across languages is that while the focus today may be of capturing markets, I grew up with cinema at a time where these collaborations were very unassuming. While female actors consistently collaborated in several languages in the southern states, as learning the language was never considered to be a priority, most actors were being dubbed anyway in their flower pot roles opposite stars. But when we did see male superstars appear in other industries, it wasn't considered to be an event or an anomaly. Rajnikant and Kamal Haasan did several Hindi films across the 80s and 90s, assimilating brilliantly with Hindi film actors. When I was growing up with Hindi cinema in the mid-2000s, I would see a Mohanlal in Company, an Ajit in Ashoka, and a Nagarjuna in LOC Kargil. But these were stars who absolutely surrendered to their roles. The media never presented it as this big deal of cross-pollination of talent to capture markets, and one simply observed and analyzed the film for its storytelling, not the optics of how the Hindi film industry presented the biggest star of, say, Malayalam, Tamil or Telugu cinema. This was also true for the case of Dhanush doing Ranjana, or the several movies that Madhavan did across the 2000s, or a brilliant performance like that of Siddharth in Rang De Basanti. It was never blatantly presented as a pan-Indian attempt. It was just organic and never created a toxic discussion on state, language and the quality of specific film industries. Even when actors like Prakash Raj and Nasir were presented as villains of popular Hindi commercial films, mostly remakes of Telugu bangers, they were presented in such a cool fashion that they were only celebrated for their performances. However, as the 2010s rolled around the corner, especially after the reception of a pan-Indian blockbuster like Bahubali, this osmosis of talent has created discourse that has led to me having a very basic observation, and this may be a generalization, but for most cases, Hindi cinema and its makers really don't know what to do with Telugu stars. And I have a few examples to share with you. We have already got the precursor with Junior NTR in War 2. Does Ayan Mukherjee really have a surprise up his sleeve when we see the film? Who knows? I highly doubt it, but let's be realistic. The frames of Junior NTR present him as any other addition to the universe. I assume that the Hindi cinema noob would not know Junior NTR and the craze he has on the ground level beyond the hysteria caused in RRR. And even though NTR within the Telugu market is also criticized for his script selection, his ability as an actor has always been praised. You see the intensity he brings in a film like Temper, the ease with comedy in a film like Adurs, or just see Samadri and the commercial packaging of the action blocks in that movie. The man possesses genuine range, but the teaser, at least of War 2, presents a very flat appearance for the star. The VFX not doing any favors to the star, but it's almost as if the makers just didn't know how to present this much anticipated face-off. This same problem of fully shooting a movie in these digitally rendered backgrounds was the case of Adipurush. I can't tell you the hype when it was announced that Prabhas is going to play Lord Ram. I can't tell you the hype that was associated with the film when Om Raut was roped in after the success of Tanaji. Everyone assumed that it will be a blockbuster, and it was a mess from the moment the first teaser dropped. It's crazy on how most people have forgotten about the abomination the film was, and it became another case of a Telugu actor, star, collaborating with a Hindi film director, and it just turning out to be a hot pile of garbage. I say another case because the first attempt at really cashing in on the stardom of the current Telugu stars in the Hindi market was close to 12 years ago when Charan was roped in to do the remake of Zanjeer. The movie was an absolute mess, and it did not help that Charan really put forth a very stiff performance for a role that was immortalized as the beginning of the angry young man phase of Amitabh Bachchan. Charan just seemed like a miscast for the role, and more than just his role in a vacuum, the movie was terrible from a screenplay perspective. Again, when optics and capturing markets is the sole motive, it often leads to the artistic quality of the film being diluted. You look at the case of Venkatesh and Jagapati Babu being roped in for Kisi Ka Bhai Kisi Ki Jaan. It really has nothing to do with the actors being fit for the role. They could have been played by anyone, and in the pursuit of hoping that you rake in huge numbers at the box office, you associate with projects that you knew were mediocre from the onset. The times where Telugu actors have actually done extremely well for themselves when associating with Hindi film productions is when they have been cast for roles with the mindset that they are appropriate for the part versus cashing in on their stardom, and Rana Daggupati is a great example of the same, shining in movies like Dam Maro Dam, Baby, and especially The Ghazi Attack. There is a syntax to the celebration of a star that just seems to be missing with Hindi film directors. The vocabulary of mass treatment is often overlooked, and this is something that only directors who have grown up with a particular kind of cinema can understand. Hence, a Sandeep Reddy Vanga who has grown up with Telugu cinema can present a Ranbir Kapoor in Animal like we have never seen before in Hindi cinema. Hence, after a debacle like Adipurush, a Prashant Neel can present Prabhas like the star that he is. It almost causing for most people to forget about the nightmare that was the Hindi film production. See, it's not like Telugu stars in the pursuit of pan-India stardom always get it right without Hindi film production collaborations too. You look at Junior NTR's Devara, Charan's Game Changer, Prabhas's Radhe Shyam, all terrible products in their own right while being homegrown Telugu productions. However, I have noticed that Hindi film producers often are confused on what to do with these stars. When Hindi film actors, however, cross-pollinate with massive Telugu or Tamil projects, they often are celebrated for the same, assimilating so seamlessly and shining in their respective universes because the directors know how to package them. We have seen Ajay Devgan in RRR, Aishwarya Rai in possibly her best role in years in Ponniyin Selvan, or most recently with Amitabh Bachchan at 80, stealing the show in a massive production like Kalki. It's actually been rather fruitful for Hindi film actors to go out of the bubble of Mumbai and explore more opportunities elsewhere. The same really can't be said for Telugu stars when they go to Mumbai. When massive pan-Indian projects actually rope in talent because they suit the roles, it often bears fruit, organically leading to the box office cash registers ringing. While I think this trend will carry on for quite some time, and by cashing in I mean roping in the biggest stars from respective languages and states, like how Jailer utilized the biggest stars with their cameos in the best way possible, something that the upcoming movie Coolie is also attempting, I sometimes worry whether this Avengers-like approach of getting all the stars under one roof can cause for more problems than solutions. The project that really worries me with the same approach is the much anticipated Ramayana, because this is one project I hope really works. I really want to know what is your opinion on the same. Is this pan-Indian approach doing more harm than good? Why do Hindi film productions really struggle to collaborate with Telugu stars specifically? Is there a vocabulary that they just don't understand? Please write down your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.